Okay, so I wanted to do a demonstration here just so I can explain one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the T-bolt clamps, and it's more than just aesthetics. So this is a typical 3-inch silicone connector. It is a 3-ply. This, in the right situation, will hold 50 pounds of boost, no problem at all. So typically we would orientate the clamp so the threaded portion is away from the viewing area, and to make this look right you don't want these two, you know, touching, and I really don't like them on the end. I mean, you can do it like that, but when you can't see some of the silicone hanging out, I mean, this could be, you know, hanging off the end, and then over time it could actually work off and pop off. So typically the way I like to see them so they look visually correct is about like that, about 1/4 of an inch on each end, and I like it to be even. That is, in my opinion, the way it looks the best. So if I can get that to sit there, let's position these clamps so it's about like this. Now this is typically as close to the edge as you can get a bead on some aluminum pipe without distorting this end, without making this end actually collapse and turn into a cone. You want this to be as true as you can. The further the bead goes this way, the more true this will stay. This actually ends up being a slightly smaller diameter. It's hard to tell. So I like the bead to be actually further away. But let's take 2 of these. The way your connector is going to work is the silicone connector slides on here, and of course the bead has to be one side of the clamp. The clamp needs to be, use this ruler as a demonstration, it needs to clamp down here so it pushes against that bead. Well, the silicone connector is not going to form around here exact, so the clamp has to come further away, so figure about 1/8 of an inch. So these are your connecting pipes. Let's say we do this. As you see here, the clamp is going to be right up on here. So as you tighten this, it's going to force these pipes to almost touch. So some are going to say that's not really a bad thing, right? We want them touching. Well, first, it doesn't offer any flex. You want a little bit of flex. You don't want the pipes to be rigid because something will break over time. I'm not talking about once down the racetrack. I'm talking about years in operation. We build things and I plan them to stay together for years. So let's say you put these together, you remove the flex in the connector. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is when your pipes are actually doing this, again, it's a long shot and I know I'm kind of going to extreme, but over time you're gonna have flakes of aluminum coming off here. Again, these are pushed together really tight. It only takes a little bit of this, and it, again, might be far-fetched, but a piece of aluminum could come off here and work its way into your engine and get stuck under your valve seat. So think of this in this setting here. I like these pipes to be about 1/4 of an inch apart, and that gives me a little bit more room when I run the thinner clamps, and I can still have this gap here. And again, someone's going to say you can run the clamps all the way to the edge, and that would give you the amount that you need. That would work. Aesthetically, I just don't like that look, because like I was saying, when it's like this, it could work its way off, and it's not a visual indication. When you see a gap on your silicone and you come off after a few weeks of driving and you see it doing this, you know the clamp is slipping, you know the silicone connector is slipping. So that's just my opinion, and again, it's not a wrong opinion, not a right opinion. That's just one of the reasons I don't like using the T-bolt clamps. Okay, so now saying that, I have a ton of these clamps left. So we have 2.5 inch and 3 inch. I'm going to sell these off cheap because, like I said, it's not that there's anything wrong with them, I just don't really like them. But they are the pretty good quality ones. They're stainless. They have the lock nut. They're not the cheesy ones. There is a bunch out there that are not even stainless. These are pretty decent, but tell you what, 2.5 inch and 3, let me make somebody a deal here. PM me. Obviously there's a lot here. How about I do 20 of them for $30 shipped? How about that? That's a little $1.50 each, less than that. So go ahead and PM me. If you want a large quantity, if you're close to me, call me, make me a deal. I have about 200 of these clamps, so I have 2.5 inch and 3 inch. So there you go, $30 shipped for 20 clamps.